What's up, Valentine's Day survivors? It is I, the grumpy guide to all things geekdom, the toxic gatekeeper, with another random musings about random stuff that generally relates to gaming. So recently was watching the three-part Hobbit film trilogy again with some friends. And there's the scene where they get to the statue and it's all filled with, this giant statue of gold, and then it melts to make it a giant floor of gold. And the question comes up, would they actually have wasted the time to make a giant statue? It is the ultimate personification of the greed and narcissism that had affected the king and the dwarves in general. And still, it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of gold to make this relatively pointless statue when they could have been doing other things. And the answer is because they could. And that goes deeper into the mentality of the dwarves, or as Peter Jackson saw the dwarves, because there's really no mention. That scene didn't happen in the books, in case you're wondering. And you have to understand the greed and the narcissism that had affected the dwarves right before Smaug came. And just the fact that they have, billions and billions and billions of gold and gems and stuff just sitting around that they're not doing anything with. And they're not going anywhere. Their society is not expanding. They don't go out because of the greed and the narcissism and the constant need to just keep digging and mining and accumulating this wealth that they're not doing anything with. So yeah, sure, why not? Wouldn't they not build a gigantic statue of gold of the king because they had the gold? They're probably bored, and it is the ultimate personification of the greed and narcissism that has been affecting them that led to Smaug coming. They could build it. They had the materials to build it. They had nothing else to do. The king is obsessed with greed, narcissism, gold, and power. So yeah, why wouldn't they? Which, of course, then leads the brain to thinking about gaming and fantasy gaming and D&D and the accumulation of ridiculous amounts of gold that happens in a D&D game. I mean, why does this goblin have 500 gold in a chest? What is he doing with it? And then what are you going to do with it? How are you going to carry it? What are you going to spend 500, 5,000, 50,000 gold pieces on if you're not running a kingdom? Because remember, the average price of most stuff in D&D land is like a copper or two. The average income of most people who aren't player characters in the D&D land is a gold a week, if they're lucky. So what are you going to spend 50,000 gold pieces on in a world that doesn't produce things that cost 50,000 gold pieces? Magic items. Well, 5th edition has made it pretty, clear that you can't just go and buy magic items. They either have to be found or made. So really, unless you're making magic items, investing in a craft, or running a kingdom in a D&D mentality game, what do you need all that gold for? What are you going to do with it? It's like, well, I got 50 billion gold pieces from 10 years of adventuring. I'm 15th level. I'm retiring. I've got nothing to spend it on because everything in the local shop costs at most 2 silver pieces. So I'm going to build a giant statue of myself out of gold because I can. So, once again, why wouldn't the dwarves build a giant statue out of gold when they've got nothing else to do with it? And if you're an adventurer and you're playing D&D and you're in this D&D type world and you suddenly have all this money and nothing to spend it on, what? Okay, I build a castle. Okay, well, you still got a ton of money left because castle building isn't that expensive. So unless you're going to run a kingdom, why not build a giant fucking statue of yourself out of gold? Because you got the resources and you got nothing else to do with it. Just think about it. What would you spend tons of gold on if you had it in a D&D role-playing game and you couldn't buy magic items? Comment down below. Let me know your version of why you think the dwarves built the statue in Erebor and the Hobbit. Comment down below, or just comment down below because you're bored and have nothing else to do on Valentine's Day like me. Support. Talk to you soon, lasers.